After Jesus had appointed his apostles, then he went home. But the crowd gathered together again, so that they couldn't even eat. When his family heard it, they came down to restrain him, for people were saying he had gone out of his mind. But the scribes who had come up from Jerusalem were saying, he has Beelzebul, and he casts out demons because he is controlled by the prince of demons. And he called them to him, speaking in parables, saying, how can the accuser cast out the accuser? If a kingdom rises up against itself, then that kingdom cannot stand. If a house rises up against itself, then that house will not be able to stand. And if the accuser rises up against himself and is divided, then he will not be able to stand, and his end is come. No one can enter a strong man's house and rob him, not until they tie up the strong man first. I mean, if they tie up the strong man, then yes, they can plunder his house. Seriously, I tell you, people's sins will be forgiven even if they utter the greatest blasphemies. But if they blaspheme against the Holy Spirit, well, that cannot be forgiven and becomes an eternal sin. For they said he has an unclean spirit. And then his mothers and his brothers came, and standing outside they sent for him and called for him. A crowd was sitting around him, and they said to him, your mother and your brothers, your sisters, they're outside, they're looking for you. And replying them, he said, well, who are my mother and my brothers? And looking around at them, he said, here are my mother, my brothers, my sisters. Anyone who does the will of my Father is my brother, my sister, and my mother.